I'm going to go ahead and call to order this July 8th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the town of White Lake. And I would ask, first of all, that you bow your heads for the invocation. Dear Lord, we wish to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to gather here this evening to discuss the business of our town. We ask that you guide and direct us as we attempt to do your will and as we try to do those things which are in the best interest of the citizens of this town. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen. The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask Commissioner Suggs to lead us in the pledge. Each of you are welcome to join in.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our first item on the agenda tonight is the approval of the consent agenda items that are contained as items A, B, and C. I would point out that at your desk, you should have an updated item 3A1. And with that one amendment, I am entertaining a motion to approve the consent agenda items set forth as 1A, B, and C, unless there are any questions in regard to any of those. Motion second. Second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. The next item that appears on our agenda is a public hearing. Did we have a sheet? If anybody signed up? No. We had scheduled for tonight a public hearing that was in regard to a special use permit filed on behalf of Mr. Travis Denton. And we were contacted by Mr. Denton's attorney a little earlier this evening. And he has his attorney asked, and we've been in touch with Mr. Denton, he concurs with this, for the public hearing, which was advertised for tonight in regard to the special use permit, to be continued. Our town attorney had talked with Mr. Denton's attorney and again advised that he could not be here tonight. And so at his request, I am going to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing, which was set for tonight, to the regular meeting on August 12, 2025. We did put a sign-up sheet out for anyone wishing to speak at the public hearing. There is no one signed up to speak. And at the same time that I entertained that motion, I would also ask that that motion include that we continue item 3, I think it's J, entitled Travis Denton Special Use Permit. That's the action portion of that after holding the public hearing. Obviously, we can't vote on this tonight because it's a quasi-judicial hearing under North Carolina law, and we are not allowed to take a vote on that until evidence has been properly presented through a duly held quasi-judicial hearing process. So at this time, again, I'd entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to August 12, 2025, and continue the action portion of that in item 3J, and that way it will coincide with the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion second. Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. And I forgot to mention as we started out, Paul Evans contacted us shortly before the meeting started and advised that he would be unable to be present tonight, and I let him know that we would advise the board that he was not able to attend tonight. All right. The next matter is under item 3, administrative matters. First item is a project update, White Lake Water Management Project update. Sean, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. In this month's White Lake Water Management Project update, Dr. Lawrenson has provided her monthly update to the board, sharing notice of publication with the board on an article written on why and how the lake has changed over time. In this article, at the suggestion of a colleague, Dr. Lawrenson informs the board via the report that she's including an image depicting the pH cyanobacterial phosphorus feedback loop and a description of how nitrogen affects the aforementioned cycle. Dr. Lawrenson then goes on to discuss conditions observed during her testing that indicate a moderate bloom. She discusses high water temperatures contributing to favorable bloom conditions, and she discusses management approaches in the event of another cyanobacterial bloom in the future. Dr. Lawrenson did amend her report, as Mayor Womble previously noted, in the consent agenda adoption. And in the amendment, she discusses a few additional things, those being floating blobs observed around the marina and the northern portion of the lake, which are likely related to increased boating activity, she points out, because this material that's being observed originates at the bottom of the lake. She includes several photos of Lake Place and Nathan's Cove over a time span taken from June 6th to June 25th. And you'll see, as depicted on the screen, the top photos represent June 6th, the bottom June 25th. She points out the increased material from the bottom washing up on the shore in the bottom photos taken later on at the June 25th date. She does note that this material has a tendency to become rubbery when washes ashore, as depicted in the picture, and it can be picked up by raking and removing it, which she suggests in her update. And then finally, she concludes by letting the board know that she's received an email from a Nathan's Cove resident that is bringing attention to this conditions observed on the lakeshore there at Nathan's Cove. And the email is asking if this material is safe for swimmers, which she points out that it can be material stirred up from the bottom and that swimmers can avoid this by entering the lake from a pier if possible, which I should say, finally, she does go on to state that the sampling results completed with the state lab are finally available from 2023. They were posted in March of 2025. And these results indicate a smaller parameter than one that she currently works within by utilizing the lab in Seattle, Washington, which she goes on to conclude that the results that we received from the lab in Washington paint a better picture as to what exactly is going on, as well as noting that the lab in Washington has extensive history from basically the alum treatment on in terms of our core samples noted in the lake, and can use that wider range of testing to better identify any potential problems proactively, hopefully, before they occur. There are no questions, Mayor. That conducts the lake management update for this month.
Yeah, I got something. I went down to Clarkland Village for the meeting when I received the email earlier. Clarkland Village was notorious for having this muck. I own property there. And that was just taken this day at about 5 o'clock. Now, I think the water level's up and that's helped. And I think they may be using jet skis and moving it. But then I went to Timber Lodge, which I own property there on that side of the lake, and it was fairly clear. And of course, I took a picture of my house over on this side. It's just as clear as it's been in a long time.
Right.
So I'm going to send those photos to her. Although the condos, if anybody owns it, I understand where you're coming from, because I'm a property owner that's dealt with that stuff for years and years and years. But I don't know if, like you were saying, algae side or something could help these folks. Something we could do, let them know we do care, because it's not a problem until it's in front of your house. You know, that's a problem. But I just want to bring that to her attention, where it's normally really bad this time of year, even earlier, you know, that hadn't happened. Not that it won't happen tomorrow.
Well, and that's true. And that area that is being referred to is, it seems to be an accumulation point, for that. I know I've heard it stated at meetings here a number of times that this is a relatively new phenomenon, and that's not a true statement.
To Michael, they're asking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's on. And we have pictures going back. Bladen Journal did an article in 2000 when Tim Brush was our public works manager. And we see this sort of buildup going out 25, 30 feet from the shoreline. And so it is a buildup there. Dean, I know you tried over there in that area to put out some type of webbing or fencing, and so we have looked at trying to see what we could do, but the wave action disrupted the webbing that was out there, and that didn't work with that. So we'll keep looking at that, and it is bad over there sometime. I observed the same thing that you did out in front of my home this morning. It was really as clear as I've seen it in a while. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a green tint to it. It does, but it's the best I've seen it in a while, and that may be due in part to the lake level. I don't know. The higher the lake level, the less the boats affected. As we get into drought situations and the boats are closer to the bottom, of course, common sense will tell you it'll stir up a lot more debris on the bottom of the lake and a lot more of the algae that settles in there. So we are aware of that. We continue to look at it. And I do commend to you Dr. Larson's report that you can that you're welcome to view. And that report also is available to anyone in the public who wants to see a copy of that. We provide that to you. Okay, anything else? If not, Sean, if you'll go on to item 3A2 on our project update for the DEQ grant award.
Yes, sir. For this month's AIA project update, standing for Asset and Inventory Assessment on our water system. The update is that our project is 72% complete. We are expecting our modeling results to be presented to staff in August of 2025, next month. At the September meeting, we are hoping to have a capital improvement plan presented to staff. And then by November of 2025, we are still planning to have a draft asset management plan to present to both staff and elected officials on improvements to our water system. If there are no questions, Mayor, that concludes this month's update on the AIA project.
Any questions on that? If not, Sean, if you will also address item 3B on the tax collector's full settlement report.
Yes, sir. As required by North Carolina General Statute 105-373A3, the tax collector is required to make an annual settlement with the governing board after July 1st and before the tax collector is charged with taxes for the current year. The tax collector shall make a sworn statement found in your agenda as item 3B1 to the governing body of the taxing unit showing a list of persons owning real property whose taxes for the preceding fiscal year remain unpaid and the principal amount owed by each person. That's item 3B2 in your agenda packet. She'll also provide, or the tax collector will also provide a list of persons not owing real property whose personal property taxes for the preceding fiscal year remain unpaid and the principal amount owed by each person, that being item 3B3 in your agenda packet. Delinquent taxes for tax years 2015 to 2024, that being item 3B4 in your agenda packet, and small underpayment and overpayment adjustments, that being item 3B5 in your agenda packet. The tax collector is asking the board to accept the full settlement report for fiscal year 2024-2025 as presented.
All right, any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the tax collector's full settlement report for fiscal year 24-25 as presented.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. The next matter under administrative matters, item 3C, appointment of officers. Under section 30.03 of the town's code of ordinances, states that it shall be the duty of the Board of Commissioners at its first regular meeting each year, which is July, to elect or provide for the appointment of officers. Staff is asking the board to make the following appointments to comply with Title III Administrative Section 30.03 of the Town of White Lake Code of Ordinances. And of course, this will be up to the board. If you have other suggestions or want to consider anything different, then you can bring that up. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Tim Blunt, who currently serves in that position. Town Administrator Sean Martin. Town Clerk Tina Merritt Smith. Human Resource Officer Mary Jo Lennon. Chief of Police Bruce Smith. Tax Collector Tina Merritt Smith. Finance Director Mary Jo Lennon. Deputy Finance Officer Amber Glisson. Water Wastewater Superintendent Kevin Taylor. Zoning Inspector Bennett Lee Kane. Fire Chief Safety Officer Dale Brennan. Budget Officer, I serve in that capacity as mayor, and Town Attorney Whitley Ward. Those are the appointments as proposed by staff, and generally go forth with the ones that are in those positions now. Any questions for staff? If not, I would entertain a motion to make the appointments as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Our next item is creation of an outdoor recreation advisory board and appointment of initial members. And I'll turn that over to our county administrator to present that item.
Yes, sir. As the board may recall, in last month's agenda and in last month's meeting, there was an advisory board ordinance that was adopted by the board. And I want to just remind the board of a couple of things as we go through these appointments. As the ordinance states, advisory board meetings moving forward will record minutes of their meeting. Those minutes will be published on the town website, as well as available in the office of the town clerk. That the advisory boards will create agendas in advance of their meetings. These agendas published by the town clerk on the website, and of course available in person as well. The advisory board meetings will be recorded. Those will be archived by the town clerk if there are any questions as to who said what and when it was said, just like a town board meeting or a planning board meeting. The advisory board meetings will be subject to all open meeting laws that are found and contained within General Statute 143-318, Section 9, including but not limited to public access and public notice. The advisory board will need to create officers, those being the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, as well as create bylaws at their first meeting. Those bylaws will then be reviewed by our town attorney and adopted by our town board at a future meeting. And that the advisory boards must meet at least quarterly, if not more frequently than that. Having said that, the first outdoor recreation advisory board that has been requested is to essentially improve public input and support for the town's outdoor recreation activities, include support for the utilization of signage and expansion of the multi-use path system. This committee of interested residents, along with elected officials and staff, will report monthly to the town board on any progress. As the first action item contained within your agenda, staff would recommend that the board consider the recommendation as presented to create an outdoor recreation advisory board and ultimately adopt the board so that we can appoint members.
So moved. Second.
Motion second that we consider the recommendation to create an outdoor recreation advisory board as presented. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. The second part of that is appoint up to 7 initial members
On staggered
If you-
terms, yes, sir.
on staggered terms, if you hand that, please. And we have 7 people who have applied, and those are Aaron, is it Sealing? Sealing?
Sealing.
Sealing. Okay, didn't want to mispronounce the name. Susie Holland, Ed McLean, Kathy Kinlaw, Candy Boyette, Sandy Ammons, and Susan Guy. And our rules do allow up to 7 members, and these were the 7 that applied. And it's up to the board to appoint. If there's someone different that you want to appoint, you certainly have the right to bring that up. But these are the ones that we have their application on file, and it was 7 people. So I would entertain a motion that we appoint the 7 initial members consisting of the group of the names that were just read.
What are the limits?
7.
No, term limit, right?
Well, it's what it is. They're staggered terms. We set it up. We did it in order of the people who had applied. The first 2 people would be under 3-year limits. The next 2 would be a 2-year limit. The next 3 would be a 1-year service. And of course, what that does is that creates a regular turnover where like you do on most any of these committees, that they have a staggered term where you have people who carry over for a period of time and can help the others with, the process that's going on. So they're on staggered terms.
And if I could say too, generally speaking, the people that are currently serving are given preference to renew those term limits should they choose.
Yeah.
All right. But it is up to the board to appoint. Okay, and so we have these 7 names that are recommended with the staggered terms as I just read out. And I would entertain a motion that we approve those 7 and the length of term that coincides with each name.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. The last member on that is appointment of a board liaison. Terry Hawley has asked that she be the board liaison with the Recreation Advisory Board. And so I would entertain a motion at this time to either appoint Ms. Hawley in that position or anyone that the board would choose to appoint.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, the next item E is creation of Water Clarity Advisory Board. And Sean, if you'd proceed with that, we've got the same procedure on.
Yes, sir. For the first action item, the board is to consider the request, that request being a Water Clarity Advisory Board to explore options and potential solutions to lake clarity and quality issues. If there are no questions, staff is recommending that the board adopt and create the advisory board for water clarity as presented.
And before I entertain that motion, of course, as I stated, the same rules and regulations apply to that as were just read out in regard to the Recreation Advisory Board as far as membership, open meetings, and that type of procedure. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to consider the recommendation to create a Water Clarity Advisory Board as presented.
So we got 7 on the outdoor board,
that's just
9 on the water board.
Yeah, well, we're doing the board first. We're creating the board first. Yeah, and then we'll go to the members. Okay, so there's a motion. Jake, you move second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There were 9 people who applied for this. Kurt Jarrett, Tanya Jarrett, Neil Turlington, D.G. Melvin, Alan Pittman, John Boyette Jr., Ray Cross, Billy Whitfield, Mary Kay Clark. The first 7 were Kurt Jarrett, Tanya Jarrett, Neil Turlington, DG Melvin, Alan Pittman, John Boyette, and Ray Cross. So I'm not planning on voting on these names individually, so we're going to do basically procedural wise like we did with the other, and there would be a motion to approve those first 7 that are listed. Kurt Jarrett and Tanya Jarrett would serve a 3-year term, Neil Turlington a 2-year term, DG Melvin 2 years, and 1 each for Pittman, Boyette, and Cross. And if the board wants to make those appointments, it's fine. If you don't, there are 2 other applicants, Billy Whitfield, Mary Kay Clark. So that decision is up to the board.
I'd like to see about, I don't know if the Jarretts, if that's a couple or not, but if it is, maybe have one of them and Billy Whitfield in that other spot. That way have a little diversity there. And I appreciate everybody signing up, wanting to run. That's the main thing. Usually getting people to participate is the biggest hurdle.
Okay, so do you want to make that in the form of a motion, and to which Jarrett are you referring?
Flip a coin. I don't
So
know.
use your motion.
I don't know these folks personally, but yeah.
I would say probably leave it, Miss Jarrett. Keep her on there, because you don't have most of the other ones are males.
Okay.
Neil's no, she's a girl.
And no, I didn't see.
Okay, wait a minute. There's been a motion that we delete the name, as I understand it, of Kurt Jarrett and substitute in place of Kurt Jarrett, Billy Whitfield. Is that the motion that you made?
Yes.
Okay, before I can open it up for discussion, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
There's been a second. Now, any discussion?
Yes, Kurt has a strong science background. He probably has more science background than maybe John Boyette has some really good experience, but Kurt's probably the closest thing to a scientist on the list.
I don't know him.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Can we flip,
So
take the lady off?
Take that off, put him in.
So
Are they
since
husband
the
and wife?
meetings, yes, since the meetings are open to the public, they're both going to be there regardless.
Mhm.
And
Got me
probably
involved.
Billy and Mary Kay will be there too.
Okay, anything else? You had in, okay. Is there any further discussion? All right, before we vote on that, Mr. Blunt advised that he may want to amend his motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
So before we do that, I would entertain a motion, if you're wishing to amend it, that your previous motion be withdrawn. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the person who seconded it was Mike. Mike, would you agree to withdrawal of your second?
Yes.
That having been said, there's been a motion to withdraw the first and second and withdraw that motion. That being said, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, so that motion is withdrawn. Now, you said you wanted an amendment. Do you have a second motion? And if you do, I assume.
I don't really, do we have any background on these people? I mean, if there's.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
Sean's got some,
you know, Terry said that he's got a strong background in science.
We have
I don't
received
know
that.
any of these people. So,
we
I mean,
received
some of them,
applications. And I will say that if you want to look into that as a board, you're certainly entitled to do that. So if you want to do that, the correct procedure would be a motion to table. If you do not want to do that, then we'll proceed with the amended motion.
I mean, I didn't know if there was, if Sean wants to tell us a little bit about if he was a scientist. Obviously I know the other one, so. That's good. We'll just move forward.
All right. Okay, that being said, at this time, I would entertain, as I understand it, an amended motion that we approve Kurt Jarrett, Neil Turlington, D.G. Melvin, Alan Pittman, Samuel Boyette Jr., and Dr. Samuel Ray Cross, and that after exclusion of Tanya Jarrett, that we place in that position Billy Whitfield. Is that correct as to the motion?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to the motion?
So, second.
Okay.
And then Mary Kay would just be an alternate in case one of these.
Yeah, and it's still up to the board. The advisory board can recommend, the board still has to appoint. They can't appoint their own members. Okay. All right, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, the next thing is, again, Ms. Hawley has requested to be the board liaison. If you wish to do that, I will entertain a motion that Ms. Hawley be appointed as the board liaison. And I can entertain a motion to that effect, understanding the board has the authority, just like they did with the members that were presented. If you would like to make a motion for someone additional or someone other than Ms. Hawley, you can make that motion. If you want Ms. Hawley to serve in that capacity, then you can make a motion to that effect.
Make a motion, Terry Hawley serve as ambassador.
Been a motion to, well, I don't think we're going to make her an ambassador, but you know, what the heck, might be good. I reckon have to name a country along with that if we're going to make her an ambassador, but I think what she was wanting to do was be the board liaison.
Yes.
So I would entertain a motion that we appoint Ms. Hawley as board liaison. And was there a motion? to
I
that?
made a motion, guys.
Motion, second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay. All right. Now, the next matter under administrative, item F, Town of White Lake Internal Control Policy. We have several administrative matters that we need to work through. So Sean, if you will address that internal control policy.
Yes, sir. For items F and G, I do want to let the board know that our town attorney has reviewed both of these policies. They are essentially updating federal language to include state language. They're the result of a grant administration process that has taken place on our water asset and inventory assessment. Long story short, because it's American Rescue Plan grant dollars, they are subject to several different statements as well as procedures that must be followed for each grant award member. And the internal control policy as well as the procurement policy are updates to existing language, again, to include state language to become in compliance with our grant administration process. Having said that, if there are no questions, and I do want to point out to the board that our town attorney did recommend that these move forward for approval after review. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve item F, the Town of White Lake Internal Control Policy as presented.
At this time, I would entertain a motion for such approval.
So moved.
Motion second, any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
For item G, staff would ask, again, if there are no questions, that the board approve the Town of White Lake Procurement Policy as presented.
So moved.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
For item H, we suffered an accident in our police department. Officer Locklear was involved in an accident with the 2016 Ford Explorer. This was his town-issued police vehicle. The damages resulted in a estimate of $12,607.66, which was deemed to exceed the value of this vehicle. resulting in an insurance payout of $7,454, less the policy deductible of $500. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board accept the insurance payout on Officer Locklear's vehicle as presented.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Sean, if you will take item I.
As a result of item H and the accident for the 2016 Ford Explorer, staff is now asking the board to increase our original letter of interest that was presented to the board in December of 2024 and budgeted in our fiscal year budget for 25-26. That initial request was for 2 new police trucks, those totaling $70,114.09. That's the all-in price. The state contract price of the vehicle is $49,520. The upfit for the police accessories of each vehicle is $20,594. Staff is asking the board to amend the letter of intent to Deacon Jones for those state contract purchase Ford F-150 Police Interceptor responder trucks from 2 to 3. And as interest of the board, staff is also recommending, as we did originally, to increase our loan to pay for those vehicles in our budget from $140,000 to $210,000. This is over a 60-month term with an estimated rate of approximately 4.74%.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, in the past, we've always purchased these vehicles like, so we wouldn't all mature at the same time as being worn slam out
Yes, sir.
and having to fork out a bunch of money. So basically, we got a new fleet of pickup trucks.
Yes, sir. The accident occurred at a bad time. If you recall, during our budget retreat, we spend or have spent in the past couple of years about $15,000 in repairs on these Ford Explorers as they're wearing out. We are moving to a fleet management program internally to account for these vehicles and hopefully get on a cycle where we're not purchasing 3 at a time. But that is correct. Yes, sir. We do try and purchase them on
And that,
staggered.
yeah, and the other thing is, I like to see those things with decals police.
Yes,
I want people to know our Wait Lake Police Department is enforced. We're not undercover agents. We're not highway patrolmen. So I hope we get some decals and let the public know that they're in good hands where
That's part of what the $20,594 is for.
All 3 of these new trucks will have decals on them, and they'll be white trucks in the hope that moving forward, if we have to replace a vehicle, with it being a white vehicle, it will be easier to obtain. But yes, sir, all 3 will have decals.
sweet.
Okay, we already voted on that.
There was a motion, but
Yeah, motion, but
there's a
second.
motion to say.
Yes. Second.
Second. All right, motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Item J is the Travis Denton Special Use Permit. If you will recall at the first of the meeting, what we did was continue that item 3J under administrative because we can't take any action in regard to the special use permit until we conduct the quasi judicial hearing. So that's where we are with that. At this point, we are at other business, previous agenda items. I have one additional item I need to address, but before that, I'll ask if any of the commissioners have any items that don't appear on the agenda that they need to present.
Yes, can we begin thinking of becoming more sustainable and making our agenda packets digital?
We can certainly think about it.
It would save a lot of paper and printer costs and time putting them together.
If you will talk with our administrator about that, we have looked at it in the past, didn't find it feasible, but you are certainly welcome to talk with him in that regard. And if he thinks that that's a proposal that should be brought before the board, we will certainly consider that.
I talked to him about it. What
Okay.
would be the next step?
Find out what his answer is, I suppose.
Well, he said we would have to, because I said if someone doesn't have a device, we may have to buy $150 Chromebook or something for somebody. And he said in order to change to digital, it would have to be a budgeted item.
Well, again, I would get his response on that. If you're not satisfied with the response, then you can certainly ask to put it on an agenda for us to consider. I know we looked at it over at the town of Elizabethtown a couple of times in years past. When it was done, looked at over there, the commissioners, and that's a different group of commissioners, but they basically did not want to do that. I think maybe they were just used to having it in paper form. They liked something they could make notes on. They liked having the agenda delivered to them, and they kept it the same manner. But doesn't mean we can't do something different over here. So if you will find out from Sean what his recommendation is and what we would need to do to budget it, again, if you're not in agreement with that, you can certainly ask for it to be put on an agenda for us to discuss.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
sure. Okay. All right. Any other commissioners' business that we have? Okay, if not, I had one item I needed to bring up. If you recall at the last meeting, we were voting on a matter dealing with the Water Festival Committee and the use of funds through that committee. And one of the ones that voted on that, or two of the ones, were Jake Womble and Dean Hilton. And Ms. Hawley advised that she did not think that they, and in particular Jake, should be allowed to vote. I told Jake that I thought it was legally permissible for him to vote, and so he did. And just wanted the folks here on the board to know that the advice and what I told him in regard to that was absolutely correct. Ms. Hawley wrote to our town attorney and said, I know you didn't have a chance to react in the meeting when this was all going down, but I don't think Jake Womble should have voted on the Water Festival events money issues. And continuing further along in that, that she consulted the School of Government and was asked about Jake voting. She said Jake knew better and said he should probably recuse himself. And Goldston, referring to me, quickly said that if he wanted to vote, he could, which I did say that. So he said he would, and he did vote. And then she said she wanted our town attorney to review the answers given by School of Government, and said it's all said and done now, but I wanted the record to show that he should not have voted, referring to Jake, and that Goldston, me, knee-jerk response was incorrect. Well, those are not correct statements. I did tell Jake that he could vote, and I don't want anyone that's on the board thinking that he was voting in an illegal manner. I am familiar with the statutes in regard to this. This was a vote involving a nonprofit, and I don't think it prevented Jake from voting because it was not actual distribution of funds, but I think a reimbursement. But that aside, I wanted to point out that there are two sections that this falls under. One is for folks that receive a direct benefit from a contract with the town. And specifically, that's under 14-234 in the North Carolina General Statutes under A1. And under that, if you read through that, it says you can't derive a benefit from a contract except as provided in this section. Well, we have a contract now, and Tim, I'm not singling you out. We were glad to do this contract with you. Tim's good enough to provide through the temporary services that he has, temporary employees for the town, and it's been a great help for us. And the reason he's allowed to do that is because in this particular statute, when you're referring to the direct benefit, it says, and again, Tim is allowed to do this, the undertaking or contract of services of undertakings or contracts between the town is one that is in fact allowed for any elected official to vote on. And it doesn't apply to any elected official that is in a town having a population of less than 20,000. Obviously, we at White Lake have a federal census population of around 1,000, so we're much under that. Then the section that was referred to that Jake voted on was under 14-234.3. And it says no public official shall knowingly participate in making or administering a contract, so on and so forth. They're on the board of the nonprofit. And under 14-234.3, which I was aware of at the time I advised Jake, it says the exceptions listed in 14-234B and D1 through D5 shall apply to this section. So if we're in a town that is less than 20,000 population, which we are, then he was perfectly capable and legal in voting, as was Dean Hilton, on the matter that was presented. I just did not want anybody to go away thinking that we had somehow allowed folks to vote on a matter that they weren't legally entitled to vote on. And so I wanted to bring that to your attention. There's no action on it, just a matter of informational purposes. Okay. And so that concludes the comment that I had.
Can I
Next.
add one thing, Mayor?
Yeah.
So I would like everyone know I've gotten tremendous feedback from the fireworks this year. I wanted to thank all the sponsors that had contributed funds to that with the Waterfest and for the fireworks. We're hoping to continue to grow that show to be better and better every year, but I've heard nothing but good things. So just wanted to say thanks to all the people that had donated and had sponsored that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for all your hard work on that too. We certainly do appreciate it on behalf of this board and on behalf of the town. So we thank you very much. Okay, the next agenda item is the departmental briefings and reports that are presented under 4A. As always, those are available to the public. In the event that you want to review any of those, they will be provided as they are public records. At this time, we're at the open forum section of our meeting, which is 3 minutes per citizen. If you would like to address the board, you need to come forward to the podium, state your name. You have 3 minutes to speak. If there's no one that wishes to speak at this time, then that concludes our business for this evening. And I would entertain a motion that we adjourn. Again, as a reminder, our public hearing had been set tonight. It was previously continued to our next regular meeting, which is August 12th at our 7 p.m. Time. Just wanted to put that in the record so that we would have adequate legal notice on the public hearing, which had previously been advertised. So that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you folks for attending.